Good evening. Welcome to New Economies, Cooperation, and Circularity. This is a webinar as part of the initiative of Arts and Human Rights of the Genesis Association in collaboration with the Catholic University of Milan. I'm Frank Cinque, General Manager of the E for Impact Foundation. Our guest today is Louisa Gathecha, and she is the co-founder and business development lead for Bottle Logistics. She's coming to us today from Nairobi in Kenya. Louisa, thank you very much for being here.
You're most welcome, Frank.
Before we start our conversation, I'd just like to do a short introduction on E for Impact, because not everybody might know, or those who are listening might know who we are. E for Impact is an initiative of the Catholic University of Milan. In 2015, we became a foundation as a spin-off of the university. But what we do is we form impact entrepreneurs throughout Africa. We're currently in 20 different countries. We work with university partners in those countries. And we help to develop and form and support impact entrepreneurs in those 20 African countries. We also run accelerators, and Louisa was in our class of one of our first accelerators in Kenya. And so she is one of our success stories, and we're very, very proud of her and very happy to have her with us. Louisa, as I said, is the co-founder and lead for business development for Bottle Logistics. Bottle Logistics is a company which recovers industrial and post-consumer glass waste and processes it into a highly defined glass cutlet, glass aggregate, and makes clean, reusable bottles from glass waste. So Louisa, you have, not only are you a woman entrepreneur in a new economy, in the circular economy, so you have quite a pedigree and I think quite a story to tell. But before we get into your business background, tell us a little bit about your personal history. Tell us a little bit about your family, your studies, your work background, and what brought you to becoming an entrepreneur.
All right. Thank you so much, Frank, for the introduction and the introduction to my company. I'm Louisa Gathecha. I'm the co-founder of Bottle Logistics EA.Limited, an enterprise that was started in 2019 to recycle glass waste. Yes, I'm 33 years old. I started the company when I was roughly 30 years old. I was born to a farmer and an architect. Needless to say, in a family of 6 people. In terms of my educational background, I've studied my Bachelor of Commerce degree with a specialization in marketing, as well as Chartered Marketer from the Institute of Marketing. That's from London, UK. I've worked with top multinational companies such as Panorica and Diageo, who are manufacturers and importers of alcoholic beverages within the East Africa region. I was mostly taking care of the distribution of their brands within the East Africa region, that is Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Eastern DRC, as well as South Sudan. So with the 10 years experience within that industry, I became increasingly conscious of the amount of glass waste that was being produced from their brands. And I started off a journey of research, just trying to understand what exactly can be done with this glass bottles or glass waste to the benefit of the community and to the benefit of the environment.
Great.
And after
But
2 years,
before we go further, you're only 33 years old.
Yes.
Did you always want to go into business for yourself? Has this always been a dream or a thought of yours?
Yes, I actually tried my hand in business from the time I was pretty young. As I mentioned, my dad was a farmer, so he was a business farmer. So once in a while, I'd take some produce from his farm when I was pretty young in primary school, and I'd try and sell it and save the money just for the future. So yes, I had a very keen interest in business. Unlike most of my other family members, actually, because we only two out of the 6 ventured into business, while the rest were employed. However, I do appreciate that the work experience that I had for the 10 years has really played a major role in enabling me to actually run a very successful business today.
No, and that's also very fascinating, is that you went from the beverage industry, which obviously uses bottles, to the bottle recycling. Tell me a little bit about your time in the beverage industry and the things that you saw that made you understand that this could be a possible business and something that would help the community.
Okay, as I've mentioned, I worked for 10 years with top multinational companies importing or manufacturing alcoholic beverages, and their main packaging material was actually glass. Within these 10 years, I just became increasingly conscious of the amount of glass waste that was being produced, either from imported brands or local products. And at that particular point in time, there was no legislation actually governing any kind of waste, be it glass waste, be it plastic, be it cartons. So there was no extended producer responsibility from the organization. So I decided to just take some time, do my research, and I actually just discovered that this can actually be turned into a business venture, and that is what gave me courage to actually venture out and start the company.
Excellent. And what are the downsides of glass waste? What are the environmental hazards that glass waste presents?
One is that glass is, as much as it can be indefinitely recycled, it does not decompose. So it actually stays in the environment for over 1 million years. It is non-biodegradable. So that means if it is not collected and recycled, it's just going to be there in the environment for over 1 million years. The second thing is when it comes to our landfills, they're actually full, and glass is actually heavy and bulky. So it occupies quite a big chunk of the landfill space. Besides that, it exposes the workers who actually work in the landfills, because, as you know, it can lead to cuts. It's really is hazardous in terms of our health and safety perspective.
Really good. So, Louisa, be honest with us now. Was it these benefits, environmental benefits, safety benefits, benefits for the community, that led you to think that this would be a good activity, or did you also see a business opportunity?
As I've just mentioned, Frank, it is just the amount of glass waste that was being produced that just made me start a research on what can actually be done with the glass to save the environment and to save the environment generally. And when I started doing my research, I actually discovered that it can actually be turned into a business venture. So what led me to get into glass recycling wasn't the profits I could make or the revenues I could generate, but it started off as an interest in just wanting to save the environment.
Excellent. So you wanted to have a positive effect on the environment, and you found a profitable way to do it. I think this is the perfect marriage, and so congratulations. So let's talk about the company then a little bit. Tell us how it started, and then and what you're doing right now. Give us an overview of the company.
All right. Yeah, Bottle Logistics was actually incorporated in the year 2019. When I was just leaving my business environment, my employment, as I mentioned, I met a young gentleman who was actually recycling glass. in a very small scale. And once I had done my research, I felt like there was massive potential in the industry. I felt like he had the knowledge, the expertise that was required in the industry, unlike I did. So I decided to partner with him, and we co-founded Bottle Logistics. So before we incorporated it as a company, it was running as a sole proprietor until we incorporated it in 2019. The first activity of the company, we started off by just recovering glass waste and processing it into broken glass cullet and selling it to the local glass manufacturing companies. An activity we did for about 1 year. Then when COVID hit, most of the local glass manufacturing companies actually shut down for about 2 to 3 months. However, there was a ton of events because we got a lot of phone calls from the local food and beverage companies saying that, on-trade accounts, bars, restaurants were actually closed down. So they couldn't get back their glass bottles for reuse as they normally used to get them because the consumption moved to homes. Residential places, yes. So we got a number of requests and we started actually collecting the returnable glass bottles for the local food and beverage companies during the COVID time. And one interesting thing is that it was actually not within our scope then, but because we were doing glass, we decided, yes, why not? Why not take up the challenge and cover the gap that had already been created by the local glass manufacturers being closed. And today, interestingly, the returnable glass bottle or the reusable glass bottle actually accounts for 70% of our revenue.
70%?
Yes, and it actually generates the highest profit margins compared to cullet.
Okay, and this was a COVID innovation, Louisa.
Yes, it was.
Excellent, very good. Okay, so go on. So so it's a relatively young company. You're 3 years old, and I want to talk a little bit about the partnership. But just now, so tell us, after things opened back up with COVID, all right? What innovations were you able to apply? How have you developed the company?
For us, during the COVID period, the returnable glass bottle was one of the biggest innovations. And after, it was about how do we scale up the returnable glass bottle one? How do we get back our cullet business? That was the second thing. And now, thirdly, we are really trying to build on new innovation through artistic glass work, because we have some glass that is actually not on demand locally in terms of color, like black, we have gold, we have blue. So we found ourselves always taking this glass to the dump sites, and we are trying to become a zero waste company. So we want to develop some artistic glass items from this colored glass.
Wonderful. Yes. What is a zero waste company, Louisa?
Pardon?
What is a zero waste company?
We are trying to achieve zero waste, where we actually do not produce any waste or take any waste to the landfill.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yes.
How many employees do you have, Louisa?
Currently, we have 89 employees.
How many?
89.
89 employees in 3 years.
Yes, and we started off just myself and my partner, and 2 other people started off from a team of 4 to 89 in 3 years.
My gosh. Congratulations. So you've created 89 new jobs. How many customers do you have? How big is your customer base?
Currently, we have a customer base of 16.
16 companies.
Yeah.
16. Other people in Nairobi doing this work? Do you have a lot of competition?
Yes, there's competition, just like any other market. But as Bottle Logistics, we've been able to set ourselves apart. We've been able to derive competitive advantage and actually be market leaders within the short period we've been there, as long as we found other companies that have been there for over 10 years. Mostly because of our strategy, our product and go-to-market strategy. For example, for cullet, we just found it was a norm. Everybody was just processing clear cullet, simply because there was no local demand for colored cullets. And we were actually able to get an export market for the colored, that's green and amber cullet going into Tanzania. So currently in Kenya, we are the only company that is processing green and amber colored. Also through automation of our activities, we were able to build on our capacity because everybody else has current manual processes, but we're able to automate by installing a glass crushing plant. And currently we are processing up to 600 tons a month. Yes, and in terms of returnable glass bottles, we were able to get a niche for ourselves by expanding our portfolio to deal with glass water bottles, to deal with cider bottles and craft beer bottles. So we are the only company currently dealing with those 3 types of bottles, and it's because of the equipment and automation we've been able to install and the quality, meeting the quality standards of the local industry.
Louisa, congratulations. That's excellent. And to know that you're exporting, you've entered into an international market. So you're exporting to Tanzania to start.
Come again? Sorry?
You're exporting.
Yes.
So you made the company. It's now you're in 2 countries and you're becoming a multinational exporter.
Yes, we are actually now in 3 countries within the East Africa region because we're exporting the colored glass to Tanzania, as well as the Uganda market because it's landlocked. They have no glass manufacturing company. We've actually penetrated the market by managing industrial glass waste for some of the local companies there because yes, so we are able to import actually glass waste from Uganda. So we process it and sell it locally or send it again out to Tanzania.
Wonderful. So it sounds like one success after another, but I can't believe that's all true. Tell me about some of the major obstacles you've had and how you overcame them.
I think for me, we got the strategy in the market right. However, we've had a lot of challenges, and one of the challenges was actually just funding our business for growth. It's been quite a journey. Thanks to E4Impact, they enabled us to venture into the returnable glass bottles with the grant they actually gave us. Secondly, I can say it's been a tough environment in terms of the legal political framework because Kenya is still in an infancy stage of developing legislation to actually support recycling activities. However, now we are seeing some movements with the introduction of the Sustainable Waste Management Bill and the Extended Producer Responsibility Bill that will actually require manufacturers, importers to develop a plan of how they're going to collect and recycle their post-consumer waste. Okay,
so you're influencing policy in a certain sense.
Yes, the policies, this is the time actually the policies are being built, and we are hoping for proper implementations. Otherwise, the environment, we've just been operating in an environment without any legislation, if I may say. Yes. Thirdly, again, I think one of the biggest challenges has been developing the team. Yes, I do have a team of 89 people now, but in terms of the management team, it's really been tough getting the right talent to fit the required role descriptions or the role profile, mostly because at an infancy stage, we were not actually able to provide a market rate for such skills. So we had to just take, fresh graduates and train them through the job, which was actually still quite tiring.
So tell us a little bit about how your 89 people, how your workforce is composed. How many people are in management? How many people are working actually with the glass directly?
Okay, in terms of my C-suite, I have like 4 head of departments, and then I have for the supervisors, there are 22, so that forms 26. And then the bulk of the workforce actually works in production.
And are you running shifts? How many, do you have different shifts during the day, or is it all just an 8-hour day?
Actually, last year when the business was had really picked up before these political issues came about, I'm sure you know that we've just concluded our elections in Kenya. So the last 1 year was actually very tough, but previously we were actually running 2 shifts. We had a night shift and a day shift.
Okay.
Yes, but now we've resorted to one shift, day shift, but we've increased the capacity of the day shift.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Just before we talk a little bit more about your management style, I'd like to just talk about being a woman. Has that presented any significant obstacles?
I can actually say it has presented opportunities as well as obstacles
Ah, wonderful.
at the same time.
Tell me first about the opportunities.
First, some of the opportunities, I think also not just in Kenya, but worldwide, there's a lot of focus and support towards female entrepreneurs. I feel more and more supported actually from institutions in terms of mentorship, in terms of funding, and sometimes it looks like it's going to work against you because you're a woman in a male-dominated industry, but
Exactly.
I find myself standing out. I do not take it like an obstacle, being one of the few women in a male-dominated industry.
Okay, and so that makes it an opportunity. You stand out.
Yes, it is, and you have to take advantage of it by just taking over the stage and being audible, being visible.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. Do you advertise?
Pardon? Sorry?
Do you advertise?
Yes, we do. We do mostly on social media. We have an active website. We have social media handles. And we undertake SEO for our activity. So mostly it's on social media. However, during events, we also advertise the company during events. There are collection drives, residential collection drives, industry events. We do advertise in such scenarios.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, and now the obstacle.
Yeah, I think for me, my biggest obstacle has just been as a woman, their society expectations, if I may say, as a woman. The expectations of you, which sometimes it takes a lot of energy to just break those stereotypes. Sometimes you can be in a meeting, you show up as I mentioned, but people will be like, oh, she's a woman, and they'll not take you so seriously, or because of your age, or for whatever reason. There are a bit of stereotypes and let me just say society expectations of who you should be as a woman, and why exactly are you running a business. Maybe you should be employed and taking care of a family. As well as just living as a woman, we have many responsibilities. I'm not just a business lady, but I'm a wife, I'm a mother. So balancing all those activities at the end of the day, I feel like our male counterparts are able to give more time to their social enterprises than I am. So I try and cover that gap by recruiting other people to fill in my shoes where I really can't.
Beautiful. No, I think that's very, very true. So let's talk about that then. This is, recruiting is so important for a company like yours. It's growing so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Your core management team, besides having to have confident people, you have to have a lot of trust in these people, right? You have to delegate a lot of authority. So tell us about how do you go about recruiting and managing your staff?
In terms of recruiting for my staff, I normally use an agency, a recruiting agency, where once I developed a structure with a specific role I want to recruit, and I come up with a very clear job description, I normally pass it through the recruiting agencies who will help me get the right talent. We also recruit through LinkedIn profiles. Okay. We advertise it on LinkedIn as well as our social media platforms.
Louisa, that's how you get candidates. But then how do you choose? Who are the type of people you're looking to have on your team?
Okay, fine. For me, I'll first have a look at the job description. I'll get to understand what does this person need to do once they're on board. What are the skill sets they actually need to bring on board? And from there, I try and match it to the right person. Besides that, I normally look a lot at the attitude of the candidate. Are they people who are willing to learn? Are they flexible? Are they agile? And in terms of their mindsets, are they fixed to one mindset, or are they willing to change their mindset based on the different business environments?
Interesting. So willing to learn, being agile, being flexible. That to you is very, very important.
Yeah, and also like just having a balanced team in terms of diversity, in terms of nationality, in terms of tribe, in terms of gender, in terms of your background, because all the diversity will actually come together for the benefit of the company.
Okay, so of your management team, how many men and how many women of your 4 principal managers?
They're actually two.
Two. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
And do you do anything in particular to strengthen the bond between the 5 of you, your 4 managers and yourself?
Yes, we normally try and have often meetings, team management meetings, where we get to go through key deliverables for each and every person, so that all of them can actually understand the job description of the other person, how their roles will actually link or relate, the kind of support they can actually get from the other team member. Besides that, we normally have team meetings, team buildings once biannually, just to ensure that their relationships have actually been strengthened. And once in an year, I normally do like a rotation, because I'll feel like somebody has he's in operations but has strength in accounting. So I'll take like 2 weeks off for them to just work together in accounting, more like a rotational job, so that you might have a strength that the other person can actually benefit from.
Excellent. And,
Yeah.
and why would people want to work for you, Louisa? Why would they come to Bottle Logistics too?
One thing is the name out there about Bottle Logistics, the fact that it has a vision,
Okay.
it has a growth strategy. People actually, more and more people within the industry want to work for Bottle Logistics because they can actually see the growth of the company. Secondly is, I believe we've provided a very good working environment for the employees in terms of feedback, freedom to succeed. I've empowered them to actually be able to make decisions as opposed to passing everything through me. I encourage them to just be innovative, which brings them job satisfaction. Yeah, and in terms of the remuneration, I think now we're actually matching the market standards of the pay and the benefits.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll get into your vision kind of as to close, but now let's talk about something that you opened up with, and I'd really like to go into this a lot of way, and that's the impact you're having both on the community and on the environment. So first and foremost, tell me, do you try to measure that impact in any way, Louisa?
We do try. We do try. Yes, yeah, we do. We do try to measure.
Okay. So what are some of the things that you do?
We measure our employment, the employment impact we've actually created directly or indirectly. That's the direct job employment opportunities we have created within Bottle Logistics, as well as the indirect job opportunities we have created within the value chain. That's the number of waste collectors, waste pickers, small-scale collectors, waste management companies we actually work with along the value chain, who they are not exactly on our payroll, but they earn a living from their value chain activities. Yes. Secondly, we normally look at the amount of glass waste we've actually diverted from the environment for recycling that would otherwise be in the environment. We look at the amount of virgin materials we've saved, because by recycling glass, we save sand, we save limestone, we save soda ash. So there's less mining of raw materials. We also look at that. We also look at the fact that whenever you recycle glass, it saves carbon emissions. So we do track the amount of carbon emissions that we've actually saved as a company.
On your website, talks about something called our traction.
Yes.
Can you cite some of those quantities that you have on your website?
Yes, it's changed a little bit because now we are bigger than the last time we updated.
Okay.
But we are recycling. We are diverting 600 tons of glass waste from the environment
Per month.
on a monthly basis. That means we are also saving 600 tons of virgin materials to be used, and an equivalent of raw materials around 180 tons of CO2 emissions actually saved per month.
Wow. Excellent.
Yeah, and we've created 89 direct job opportunities. Well, along the value chain, we are working with around 45 waste pickers, small-scale collectors, or waste collection companies.
Wonderful. And you mentioned something about residential collection drives. Tell us a little bit about that.
So we are trying to improve on our collection from our current collection involves collection from dump sites, small scale collectors, waste collection companies, CBOs. So we're just really trying to revamp that to go directly into the bars where actual consumption actually happens, as well as residential households. So currently we're just trying to raise funds to set up waste collection bins, glass collection bins within either residentials, in the malls, or just in convenient locations close to residential homes where consumers can conveniently drop off their glass waste after consumption.
Excellent. Okay. So job.
Yeah, we're also running residential drives. Like once a month, we'll be in a particular residential area, like in Kilimani. We are currently running one in Kilimani, Nairobi area, where residents, in case there's no bin close to them, they can easily drop off their recyclables on the day of the event.
Very good. And I imagine that's very appreciated by the people of the neighborhood.
Yes, because there are many people who would want to recycle their glass, but they have no option of where to actually drop their glass waste. So it ends up in the bin. But the more and more we are creating awareness of glass recycling and providing them with a convenient drop-off location, we are finding more and more Kenyans actually dropping off their recyclables for recycling.
Excellent. And you talked about the political framework. Have you been consulted? Has the government come to you and asked for advice and to see what you are doing to try to duplicate it?
Currently not quite, but I know there are conversations around starting up of MRF, that's material recovery facilities, that has really still been in the plan. So we are waiting for the new government to come in and see whether the project will actually go on to the next level.
Okay. So
yeah, there's very little government participation, unfortunately, in our industry, but it's improving by the day.
Yeah. So, I mean, so, Louisa, you're creating jobs.
Yes.
You're cleaning up the environment. Mm-hmm. You're making a reasonable profit, I imagine.
Yes.
The business is working. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But you talked about your vision for the future. So
yes.
Tell us a little bit about the vision.
Bottle Logistics wants to become the biggest glass recycling company within the East Africa region, offering variety of products and quality guarantee to our customers. So we just want to concentrate on becoming the biggest glass recycling company within the East Africa region and not just in Kenya.
Okay. Very good. All right. So we just have a few more minutes, but I'd like you to begin now to think about other young entrepreneurs, okay? And think first and foremost, what kind of preparation you think they should be looking at, okay? And what kind of vision they should have. So talk to Louisa when she was 21 years old. What advice would you be giving her now after these years of entrepreneurship?
For me, if I can go back to why I started Bottle Logistics, for me, my advice to most young people is if you want to venture into business or just even in your career, you have to follow your passion. Then money will follow. But if you start with money, chances that your business venture will actually collapse. You've got to start with a purpose, develop a very good plan, a very good vision, and money will actually follow through.
So follow your passion, have a purpose and not money. The money will come, and have a plan.
Yes.
Okay. And anything else you'd like to tell the young people?
I think, of course, the work experience I went through was very important, but I felt like I really procrastinated my dreams. Sometimes I sit down and wish I had started earlier. So do not procrastinate, and do not fear. Just as long as you have a comprehensive plan, as I mentioned, you have a purpose, you have a vision, you just need to dive right into it, and you deal with the fears ahead as you continue running with a business. Otherwise, if you keep fearing, you'll keep procrastinating and you'll just never start anything.
Very good. No, I think that sounds like great advice, Louisa. Great advice.
Yeah.
And I just want to reiterate that, what your passion has brought you to do something which, many industries all over the world are trying to do. Find a way to be circular. Find a way to be a no-waste company, and find a way to turn things that up until 10 years ago were considered problems, and now they're resources, and you're converting those resources into jobs and into positive environmental impact and into profitability. So congratulations. No questions have come in from social media, so with that, I just want to thank you for giving us your time, Louisa, and continued success as you pursue your dream and you do good for your community. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Frank, for the opportunity. Always great interacting with E4 Impact.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.